Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I am so excited to be back with all of you for another episode. And we have today an interview with Keldamuzik. Welcome, Keldamuzik. How are you?
I am amazing. How are you, Dog?
I am doing lovely. It is wonderful that we are going to get to spend the next however long chatting with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps the bands that we feature and artists like Keldamuzik. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR outfitters.com. Don't just wear, rawr. So, Keldamuzik, you are on the West Coast. How are you?
I
What's the
am.
weather like today?
That's a good question because, gosh, it was pretty warm today,
Okay.
but just the other day it was pretty cold. I don't know. California weather is just very weird nowadays. It just can't make up its mind. So it's like I'm either walking out of the house in a tank top or I'm walking in the house with a big puffy coat. I just, oh gosh, it's just like back and forth. But today it's been nice and warm. That's why I have the glasses on. Nice and sunny today. I love it.
I love it too. Let's talk about the beret that is on your head.
Yeah, yeah. So I have my own line of berets. It's called Thames. And just to give you a brief background on it, we originally called it Tinks, but there's another major company, $1 billion company, who actually uses that name without the S. And it's a big brand that all the kids love. um, but unfortunately, a little copyright infringement went on. So because they're even though they have children's clothing, they still have hats in their children's line. So it was just hitting too close to what I have. So we changed Tinks to Tams. Now, according to a lot of older folks, my mom was telling me that back in her day, they used to call the berets Thames with an S. That was like a little nickname for it. And so what I did was I replaced the S with a Z, and that's how we came up with Thames. And we have 10 different colors, and we're definitely expanding that. And it's cool because of having this beret line, I've been dabbling a lot into the fashion industry. This is not just a merchandise from me as an artist. This is something now that anyone could purchase and be a fan of. You don't have to even be a fan of mine, but hey, if you like this kind of accessory, you know to um to add on to what you're wearing or whatever, just to enhance your looks, then hey, slap on a Tams.
Yeah, and I mean it's a real expression of yourself, an extension of yourself too. Talk about that and how that's
Yeah.
important to you.
Yeah, it's very important. As a matter of fact, I've been donating these berets to a few hair loss organizations, and I've actually been speaking at those organizations. And my speech to them is, me suffering a lot from hair difficulties as a Black woman, and having to put chemicals in my hair. Just to straighten it to, fit in with everyone, or trying to dye my hair, just trying to do too much with my hair to where it started breaking off, and it just became a struggle, a challenge. And so when speaking at these organizations, I just tell them the challenges that I've went through trying to manage my hair, trying to fit in with everyone with my hair. And I said, you know what, the hat is not to cover up anything. but it's just to add to who you are. And this is me. This is Kelda. This is Keldamuzik. This is my brand. This is something that I stand for. You know, every day we walk out of the house, we choose what we want to put on ourselves to look presentable to the public. And for me, a Tams is just easy. And I wish that it was something that I had when I was in my teens, when I was going through hair struggles. I wish I was able to just slap on a beret and just walk out of the house and not have to ever touch it. So, again, Tams is not to hide anything. It's just to enhance who you are. And if you are trying to hide something, it still gives you a great look. It still gives you a sophisticated, clean, just professional look.
Yeah. Well, you said that it's that struggle to fit in, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a powerful emotion to try and like get over, and
Mm-hmm.
anything that you can do to help anyone else, not just
Mm-hmm.
speaking, but like having a product like that, that's so powerful, right?
Definitely, definitely. And the thing is, when you have a message behind your product, that's what's most appealing to people, and that's how you engage with people. And that's why I didn't come up with just any old product. I didn't just come up with t-shirts or eyelashes or makeup or anything, because for me, I want to be able to speak in detail about my product, and I want to touch people with my product. And Tams has really just brought the best out of not only just women but men too. Men are starting to wear these berets, and when I produce fashion shows, we have men walking on the runway too. And what's really really cool that I've done, because I'm just this little genius, Stevo, uh, I've been locally, at least, any customers that purchase my berets, I ask them if they'd like to walk in my fashion show. And what's cool about it is we're just getting the average looking person who, hey, he or she doesn't look like a model, but she gets to be one today wearing a beret, just the non-traditional model. It doesn't matter how it doesn't your height doesn't matter, your weight, your age, um, your background, nothing. We just have a whole bunch of different people wearing berets and not having to fit the criteria of fitting into this bodysuit or into these jeans or anything. You get to wear whatever you want that complements your Tams. You piece it together, you pair it together, and we put you on the runway.
It's so empowering though for those individuals, right? I mean,
Very, 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 very. I have a couple of elite models that are plus size, and they've been sticking with me forever. They're in all my fashion shows, and they just enjoy doing. They just enjoy walking the runway and just being able to show that, hey, I don't have to look like the rest of these other girls. I could be myself. So that's what the beret, the meaning of it really is being yourself while enhancing who you are,
yeah,
enhancing your appearance. Yeah.
you got to clip that. That's a perfect tagline, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. It is.
So let's go back to your childhood. I want to know,
Mm-hmm.
Tell the Music, when you were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we could label you six different things and they'd all be true, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was it that kind of brought that out of you? And maybe at what age or when did this start happening?
Yeah. So, when I was around 5 years old, my mom enrolled me in acting and modeling classes, and I was getting my headshots done, comp cards, all of that. And for me as a kid, I'm thinking, oh, this is just part of life. This is just addition to going to school or going to piano lessons, going swimming lessons, whatever. But it really was a passion that my mom had. She used to be in theater, And then my grandfather on my dad's side was a famous musician in the small town called Modesto. And for me, like it just came through me. You know what I mean? But I will admit at first, being a kid, I'm just like, okay, this is another chore. I have to what? Read these scripts. I have to do my homework and memorize all of these commercials and monologues. And I have to what? Perform this in front of like 10, 20 people tomorrow? Wait, what's going on? Um, but I started liking it. And as I got older, I started to manage my own career and go in the direction that I wanted to. And so that's when I started doing music. That's when I started writing a lot of music. I started collaborating with different producers and working with, recording in different studios. And at the age of 16, Columbia Records invited me out to in Santa Monica to audition for their girl group. And I forgot what the group was called, but it was during that time when, Britney Spears was out and Sync. It was all about the pop bands, pop groups, and stuff like that. And yeah, they invited me to come out, and I came out there with my own little song that I wrote and I sang. I'm not a singer like that, but I was trying to at the time just to at least get my feet wet and to get in the girl group. And I remember when I went out there, I thought they were feeling me. I remember next door they were having what was it? They were having a music release for J Lo's new single. That was when she first came out, and then Jessica Simpson. That was when she first came out. They were having a release party next door at Columbia Records. I was like, oh crap. I was like, okay. But yeah, when I went to audition for them, I thought they were really feeling me, and I guess they weren't because I never got a call back. But the experience was fun. The experience was fun, and really, what I like to tell a lot of aspiring artists is get the Hollywood out your head. Get the Hollywood, get the money, fame, all that stuff. This is real stuff. This is real business. This is a business. And you have to take it seriously like any other business. You have to rehearse. You have to practice. You have to, make quality music. You have to take your time in the studio. You're going to have a lot of ups and downs. This is not like anybody who looks up to any of the artists that are out today, right? All of these artists, I don't care if their music is trash. I don't care if it's great. This is a tough industry. And not just from the music perspective of creating the art, but also managing the art and promoting the art. We got to wake up at random times in the morning, afternoon, night to make appearances, fly here, fly there, perform here, talk here. It's a campaign and it's nonstop. And so, imagine being a woman having to do all this. It's on top of everything that we have to go through as women. And now, okay, we have this major schedule to keep to. This is not a 9 to 5 where you just wake up and exercise, have your coffee, and eat a little breakfast, and then you're sitting in a chair all day. You know what I mean? This is a fast-paced industry. Yeah. And again, aside from the art, if you can't keep up with the business aspect of it, it could really take a toll on you. And unfortunately, that's how some people, start looking into other directions of the industry, like drugs or, alcoholism and stuff, because you need something to keep you sane. And that, that's obviously not the answer, but that's why you have some people that turn out to be that way, because they need something to suppress the stress. And that's what alcohol and drugs do. Unfortunately, but that's just the nature of this industry. It's very fast paced, and it could really eat you alive if you don't have the right people behind you. And having the right people behind you are, not just your accountants, not just your business manager, your booking manager, your publicist, but having people who are looking out for your well-being. Mm-hmm. making sure that you're eating the right meals, making sure that you're eating, period, making sure that you're hydrated, drinking a lot of water, making sure that you're getting your steps in every day. You really need somebody in your corner who's gonna make sure you as a person are very healthy, and that you're maintaining a good health. Because starting off as a kid, some of these kids are just left to the industry, and the parents leave them, and the parents are at home just collecting a check, while the kid is, again, having this crazy schedule, having to memorize all these lines or lyrics, whatever the case may be, and having to deal with all these strange different people around them, and different people in their ear telling them what to do, what not to do. And again, that's how it becomes a little too much for you, and you need an outlet to release. You know what I mean? My outlet to release when things get stressful is to exercise or to sleep. I need my sleep. If I don't have sleep, if I don't get any sleep, I'm no good to anybody. I'm no good to the world. I'm no good to my fans. So, yeah, it's just all about keeping your own pace in this industry without letting it get to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to have somebody in your corner that's always sharpening your pencil. You
That's
know?
right. That's right. Sharpening
So
your pencil. I like that.
so I want to know, like, what artists, like when you're growing up, like, and you're
Hmm.
13, 15, 17 years old, are you into like Mary J. Blige, like Luther Vandross, or are you more into like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre? Like or were you into like Steely Dan and Def Leppard? Like what was your musical influences growing up?
Yeah, I've always loved hip hop music. I love R&B too, but I really wasn't like an R&B head. I love hip hop. I loved rap music. For me, it was just like, you know, when when an artist is rapping their lyrics, and when you recite it, like you feel like you accomplished something. You're like, this is cool. I can do what they can do, But most of all, I just like the music and the message and the wordplay. It's very creative. You look at like a lot of, let's see, like some of the artists I listened to growing up. Yeah, definitely Snoop Dogg, um, Eminem. Really big fan of Eminem. Um, a really big fan of E40, the Loonies. Um, Gosh, and then as a kid, I always idolized Michael Jackson. I mean, who didn't? um, just everything about that guy was amazing. He was just walking talent. You know what I mean? Like you would never think he's human because he's really so good at what he does on stage and in the studio. And nothing's better than working with an artist who knows what they want. You know what I mean? And not just listening and taking directions from the engineer or the producer or whatever. But yeah, I listened to some R&B and pop, definitely Mariah Carey. Whitney Houston was amazing. Uh, my mom, she was more a big fan. She was more of a big fan of like R&B and pop, and then my dad was more hip hop. You
Hmm.
know, it would be so funny. Like my dad, when he used to take my brother and I to school, he's listening to the first Chronic album that Dre released. And I remember like at the beginning, it was, a little inappropriate for kids. And my dad, he's forgetting that my brother and I were in the car, and he's like cranking up the stereo. And then when he hears the first part, he's like, oh shit. He was like, let me switch that out. Um,
Yeah, they didn't have a radio edit version back then, did they?
right, exactly. And especially, yeah. And not on a cassette tape. So you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I've always loved hip hop, always been a big fan. And there's just so many artists that I listen to today. Definitely T.I., Ludacris, loved Jay-Z, loved Tupac, DMX, Biggie Smalls. Um, but out of all of them, I would definitely have to say I love Ludacris and Eminem. Those are like my two favorite rappers. Two favorite rappers. Um, and again, there's nothing better than just listening to artists who take themselves seriously. And you could tell they take themselves seriously in the studio because of the quality of the music. And, you just feel like you're not listening to garbage. You're listening to someone who takes themselves seriously as an artist.
But it's funny though, those two artists, I would say also kind of have a comedic approach though to their rap.
Sure. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
which is kind of what makes them, I think, so great, right?
Yeah, and that's my approach to my songs too. Like that's why I feel like they influence me because if you listen to any of my songs,
Yeah.
there's a comedic approach to the music as well. Um, because I'm more hinting about the things that I'm not gonna do, even though I'm saying something raunchy. I'm telling you what I'm not gonna do that's raunchy, you know.
Yeah.
Or when you listen to Eminem, when he clowns himself, he's telling you, "Yeah, I did live in a trailer park. Yeah, I did this and that or whatever," and it's funny. He's not taking shots at anybody; he's taking shots at himself. But it's funny. You know what I mean? So, those two artists, yeah, I would say that's why I'm a big fan.
Mhm. So when you write your songs and when you write your lyrics or the songs that you have written lyrics for, how how concerned, well, not concerned, but like, do you is it important to you to be as personal as possible, or do you kind of keep everything at a distance?
It depends. I would say it's always best to be personal as possible because when people listen to you and they become a fan, there's a lot of meaning behind the word fan. A fan is someone who not only do they love your music, but they love you, right? And they love your choice of music, your choice of lyrics, your choice of arranging songs. And so, for me, when I make a song, I have someone like me in mind when I make the song, right? So there's one song I wrote called Give You a Key, which is on the Diva album. And the term give you a key comes from when you mess around with a guy or a guy messes around with a female or whatever, and you guys are not exclusive, but you're always at each other's house. So eventually you're like, I think I'm going to give him a key.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that song related to a lot of females because it's like, oh my gosh, I really feel this guy. And again, we're not exclusive. He doesn't live here, but I'm going to let him have his way in my place. I'm going to allow him to go in and out as he pleases. And when I give him a key, that means in a way we are exclusive without saying we're exclusive.
Mhm.
So, being personal with your fans like that is very important. Now, if you're trying to get on the radio, if you're trying to really go mainstream, then of course you're going to make it's like copy and paste, right? You're going to make you're going to make a song just like that artist who's similar to you, right? Because now you want to reach out to the masses. But if you want to have longevity in your career as an artist, it's always best to be personal. There's nothing better than listening to someone who you can relate to. And a great example of that is Taylor Swift, right? Girls love Taylor Swift for a reason because she's your typical girl who's sitting in her bedroom at night and thinking about her crush and writing about it in her diary. You know what I mean? Or she's the girl who was dating this guy and got her heart broken and she writes about it in her diary. And I think that's what makes Taylor Swift who she is. A lot of young girls and girls her age can really relate to her. They feel like they're in her shoes. And I feel that's what Taylor Swift does when she creates these songs. She puts herself in all these girls' shoes and imagines, well, this is how I would be. So when an artist is like that, you're going to have longevity in your career. And let me tell you, when fans recite your lyrics at your concert and sing the songs before you could even sing them, it's because those lyrics really touch them. Even if it's just one line, even if it's just the hook, it touched them. It did something to their brains. It made a difference in their life, whether it's, overcoming something, healing, or even being mad or angry. You know what I mean? It's something that really touched them that they're attached to. So that's the importance of being personal in your music, and it's just all about relating to the fans.
Yeah, I mean, so have you written a song about an ex then, like Taylor has?
Let's see. Have you know what? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. But I do write about like potential men that I like or that I don't like.
Okay.
So there's a song I have called Mr. Right, which is on the Shut Up Listen album. And then
Yep.
I remixed it on the Diva album.
Mhm.
And it's a fantastic concept, Mr. Right. And in the song, I'm talking about what I like and what I don't like in a guy, right? And actually, throughout that whole album, yeah, throughout that whole album, I was talking about what I like and what I don't like in a guy. To the point where, again, it's a comedic approach in some songs. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? I'm talking about someone being sloppy, greasy, hairy, um, dirty, right? And then on the flip side, I'm talking about a guy who's 6'2", who weighs 200, um, and who plays basketball, football, and so yeah, those are the kind of songs that I've written. Now I would say on the Diva album there's a song that I have called No New Friends, and I'm talking about everybody in that song, not just guys, but I'm talking about friends, I'm talking about family members, I'm talking about people who I've had to part ways with because we just don't connect. And if we don't connect, it's because there's a difference that we have between each other. So at the time, I'm ripping up everybody in that song. And I felt that was really personal to a lot of people too, because instead of, breaking up with friends and making it, a dramatic situation, to write about it is where you really get to release. And when you release, you get relief. So, yeah, there's a couple of touchy songs that I've made. And on the Shut Up Listen album, there was a song, it was a self-titled album, and the song Shut Up Listen. I'm talking about my upbringing and how I used to look, and how people treated me, and how I look now and how people treat me now. And again, a lot of people can relate to that. We've all gone through our phases where, we're the ugly duckling that turned into a beautiful swan. You know what I mean? So it's just, yeah, like it's great to write touchy music like that. So, again, back to Taylor Swift with her music, she writes a lot of that. And that's why she'll always sell out stadiums.
Yeah. So do you feel like it would be more comfortable for you to date someone who's a fan of you or someone who doesn't know anything about you?
Oh, definitely someone who doesn't know anything about me.
Okay.
Yeah. They even say it's not even good to date somebody in the same industry as you, because it's a lot of competition and just a lot of conflict. However, I rather date someone in this industry because they understand the whole schedule thing,
Correct.
right? Someone who's not in this industry is going to be like, where are you going all the time? Why are you gone for 3 weeks out of the country? What are you really doing? You know what I mean? Whereas someone in the industry is like, okay, cool. Send me some photos. Let me know how it goes. I'll be over here. You're in Thailand. I'll be in Spain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and just, dating a fan is just, that's like dating anybody. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't date a fan because now it's just a different relationship, and I don't want the topic to always be about me. You know what I mean? I want it to be about both of us. I want to have a mutual love and understanding for each other, not, oh my God, I love you because you're you. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's no way I could ever date a fan.
Yeah. So let's talk about the mental health aspect and how you got
Hmm.
involved with that.
Hmm.
Then also kind of how that led into the podcast as well, correct?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. So mental health is very important. And as a matter of fact, I spoke at a few events about mental health. Um, we're all going through a lot as people, and we're all going through a lot as women and as Black women. And it's crazy because I would say about 8 out of 10 Black girls that I meet, they're there's always just some kind of feeling that they have. And the feeling is always like, I know I could do better, I could be better, but something's holding me back. And it's the world that's holding us back because of how the world perceives us as Black women. We have a lot to offer. And, again, mental health plays a big part. Um, it's very important that if you know you need to get help, get help. Get a therapist, get a psychiatrist. Some girls I know don't want to take medication. Some people do need medication. Not everything is for everyone, but there is some sort of help out there that could bring you to a certain level of happiness or satisfaction. And that's very, very important. Um, an event that I spoke at not too long ago, and I was actually on a few mental health podcasts as well. We were just discussing, what brings people to suicide, what brings people um, to overdose, what brings people to alcoholism, and it's because it's a mental imbalance that many people have, and they don't choose to address it because they don't see themselves getting over that hump. They don't see themselves, you know, climbing on the other side of the fence to look at the brighter side of things. And, as a child up, to this day, I deal with anxiety. And I take medication for my anxiety because that's what works for me. I've tried different methods of coping with anxiety, from meditation and exercises and, breathing exercises. But for me, that just works for a second. I need something that helps me for the long run, the long term.
Mm.
And that's what people need to understand when it comes to mental health. You don't want a quick fix. You want something that is going to help you when you're 40, 50, 60. You know what I mean? And it's really hard to identify what people are going through at a younger age because when we were kids we hide our feelings, right? We hide our feelings from our friends, family, and the only way we express it sometimes is to engage in negativity, right? Because that's what helps us fight mental health. But in reality, it is best to find some sort of method to cope with it, or else it will eat you up inside. It will tear you up. So yeah, for me, medication works. And I'm not afraid to tell people, hey, maybe this might work for you too if you give it a try. You know what I mean? Um, and then on the other hand, people who just know that they don't want to be here anymore. It's really sad because that means that they've went through all types of exercises and different ways to cope with their mental illness, and it just doesn't help. And so That's why you do have these suicide prevention lines. And that's why now they're making it easier for you to talk to a therapist now. You could download an app and some of these sessions are free. Some of them you don't need insurance. You can talk to someone for free because we rather help save a life than for you to live, the next few months miserable and then commit suicide. You know what I mean? Or we rather help solve your problems or issues so that you don't project them on to other people, such as your kids and people you live with and, your spouse or whoever. So, through the Diva Outreach, which is my nonprofit organization that is linked to Man to Man, which is also a nonprofit, I've created a platform for women who want to pursue their career in arts. And through this, we're not only gonna, host events, dedicated to just arts, but also to mental awareness.
Mm-hmm.
To bring women together to talk about their issues and talk about problems that they've had overcoming and talk to specialists who can help them. And I think it's just really, really important, especially for the Black community, especially for the female Black community, because again, we go through a lot. And, just knowing so many women, all of us have our own issues and no one understands. And it's crazy because the way they perceive us is not really what we are. You can watch the media all day and think that we're all twerking, or we're all walking around naked with, exotic extreme weaves in our hair and long nails. You know what I mean? Like if we do that, that's because we want to feel good about ourselves and dress up, but in here, a lot of us are great individuals. A lot of us have accomplished so much. A lot of us have so much to offer to the world, but the world hinders that from us because of how we're perceived based on who is representing us. You know what I mean? So I think that's why we need to create more groups and we need to create platforms for these groups to where we could come together and talk. And I'm like a network guru. I bring so many people together. I've brought so many ladies together, and because of TAMS, I've brought a lot of ladies together where I'm creating individual groups. Mm-hmm. And we have meetups where there's no alcohol involved, no nothing. we're going to a location where it's stress free. We're playing icebreaker games. We're drinking ice water. We're exercising. We're talking about the great things that happen to us in life, the bad things that happen. And most of all, we're talking about supporting each other. So, mental health is very, very important. And regardless of who you are, really, you should definitely find ways to cope with it. Again, and you want to do it for the people that love you, because the people that love you want to see you in the best light. Mm-hmm. They don't want to see you down and out, and they surely don't want to see you die.
So I want to know about your lowest point in your life, and at what age was that, and what circumstances led to that?
Yeah, it's crazy. I never had any like low points in my life. It was just, I think I just have natural anxiety just cause, you know what I mean? I, I've seen a lot of people who have low points and I'm like, whoa, gosh. And I'm thinking, me not getting a good grade in school was bad. But I guess, if I did have to say there was a low point, it would be me not graduating middle school on time. I just didn't care about school. Just didn't. I cared more about friends. I cared more about being popular, being funny, being cool. But then there was a point where, okay, you got to get your shit together so you can move on to the next grade. And I didn't get to do that right away. I didn't. All the friends that I have that I used to clown around with, that I used to entertain, those people walked across the stage. They got to participate in all the eighth grade festivities that they got to take advantage of for having good grades. Whereas I'm in summer school. I didn't qualify for any of that. I'm, you know, crunching all this last minute homework stuff just so I could get a little certificate that says, congratulations, you can go to high school. You know what I mean? And so I would say, yeah, that was probably a low point in my life. And for me, being a suburban girl, in a way, that was good because it just taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about people. It taught me a lot about, developing a better work ethic for yourself. It taught you a lot about, people who support you, people who don't. But, school isn't for everyone. And it definitely wasn't for me. But I did what I had to do to get my diploma, get the F up out of high school, tried college for a little bit. That didn't work. And that's why I'm pursuing what I'm doing, because that's what makes me happy. And that's just how life is. You know what I mean? You take whatever direction you want in life that's going to bring you joy and happiness. But at the same time, you got bills to pay. So you got to make sure it's going to pay the bills as well. So, but yeah, I think we all have low points in our life. And if we didn't, that wouldn't make us who we are today. That wouldn't make us human if we didn't have low points in our life. So, yeah.
Yeah, the low points kind of give you appreciation and perspective. And I think without that, you really can't be like the best version of yourself.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because whenever you go through something, it's always, a learning lesson, right? It's always something to educate yourself on so you know what to look out for in the future, or how to prevent that from happening in the future, or how to help others with that. So, yeah.
So how do you, I mean, you kind of talked about this before, but how do you kind of balance your work life? How do you do that? How do you balance your work life balance?
Like I said, like, as long as I get sleep, I'm good to go.
Okay.
That's just me. I've been a sleepyhead my whole life, but I've learned that, okay, that's what keeps me charged. That's what keeps me healthy. That's what keeps me balanced. And definitely taking a cold shower every day. I don't even do warm showers that much. Maybe in the evening, just because that'll calm you down to, rest peacefully. But in the morning, I got to take a nice cold shower. And then I need at least 9 to 10 hours of sleep at night. Or if I don't get any sleep at night because I'm busy, then during the day I need a nap. Some naps are longer than what they're supposed to be, but I need to recharge. Because yes, I do have so many things going on. And when the brain is really, really busy, you have to give it time to rest and to reset. And even your body. That's why a lot of us are looking into eating healthier foods. It's all about your nutrition. It's all about making sure you get your veggies, your fruit, and drinking a lot of water every day, because you personally may think that you can do so many things at once, but your body is like, nah, we're good right now.
Mm-hmm.
We need some R&R. And there's people that have had panic attacks or nervous breakdowns because they're not allowing themselves to rest. Me, I have to rest. Especially, getting off a long flight, if I'm flying from California to New York or overseas, the first thing I'm doing is I'm taking a warm shower and I'm going to hop in the bed and at least take a nap for an hour. I'm not getting off the plane and going straight to the venue or straight to rehearsal or anything. I need a break in order to be the best that I can be.
So you don't have any problem sleeping in hotel beds? Like you're not one of those people that you can only sleep in your own bed?
Oh no, I can sleep anywhere. I can sleep in the back of a car. I can sleep in the trunk, the closet. I can sleep anywhere. I just make myself comfortable.
Okay. Note to self.
Yeah.
So I want to know is the feeling that you get when you're on stage singing, is that different than the feeling that you get when you're like acting, behind a camera or for a camera?
um, Either way, it's all eyes on you. So, when you're performing, it's a little different. Well, it is different. You can't just stop the music and say, "Let's do that again." People in the audience are gonna be like, "WTF?" um, Whereas, yes, when you're acting in front of a camera, it's, "Hey, cut, cut, cut." Only thing is, I will say, they're both nerve wracking for a lot of people, no matter what. For me, not really. But I will say, when you're in front of the camera and they're like action, there is a point where you're like, "Oh shoot, I forgot, I forgot my line." Like you just draw a blank.
Yeah.
Whereas with music, the music is there to like carry you, and so it's really hard to like forget lyrics or to. I can understand, missing a dance step or something like that. That's, but for me, it's really hard to like, mess up on a lyric because these are my songs. You know what I mean? I wrote them, I produced them. But yeah, being on someone else's set, reading their lines, they have like all these huge cameras in front of you and all these people who are just sitting there. You're on people's time. You know what I mean? So you're just like, shoot, let me get it right. Let me get it right. Because if the production company has to extend the time, that's more money they have to pay. And then it's kind of like, what kind of actor do we have here on set? She's costing us money. This isn't, Gabrielle Union or Sanaa Lathan, where they can do whatever they want. You know what I mean? Because they're really really good actresses. But if it's people who are semi established in that part of the industry, there's a little less patience, I'll say. So that's why I always make sure, like, before I get on set, I'm very well rehearsed and I know my lines. And people have always told me, they're like, "Oh my God, you are a pro. You are great, baby." And I was like, "Yeah, I know."
That's what you want to hear, right?
Right.
So did we get to take any vacation this year in 2024?
No, but I am next month. I'm going to Disneyland.
Have you been before?
My parents took me every year since I was born. And hey, now, at first it's where a kid could be a kid. Now it's where an adult could be a kid.
So what's your favorite Disney movie then?
Oh gosh, Pinocchio,
Okay.
favorite.
All right.
Matter of fact, it came on like the other day and I watched the whole cartoon.
I was always a fan of Up. I don't know why. I just that Pixar Up movie, that was always something for me.
I still have not seen Up. I haven't seen any of the latest Disney films. I don't, sometimes like I'm just stuck in my ways. You know what I mean? I like the old stuff because that's how it originally started. Um, but in order, I would say Pinocchio, Cinderella, uh, Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty. Mm, hmm. And then I used to watch the Disney Channel religiously, um, and then Nickelodeon as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Are you a fan of Broadway? Have you ever seen anything on Broadway?
no, 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 I haven't. I would love to see the Nutcracker. There's quite a few Broadway plays that have came here to San Francisco, but I've yet to go see them. Um, I starred in a play myself. It wasn't musical or anything, but I was in a play in theater. And that right there, I didn't know I could do it, but I did it. And I just told myself, "You're going to do this." But eventually, yes, I would like to be in the audience and attend a Broadway.
So let's talk about San Francisco. That is a city that I have never been to. So if you're a real estate agent or a travel agent for the city of San Francisco, like sell the audience.
Oh, plan to stay there for about a week and then go live somewhere cheaper. Come as a tourist. Do not come to live. Oh my God.
That bad,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. It's very, very expensive to live there. I would not advise that to anybody unless, shoot, you unless you're Keldamuzik, No, San Francisco it's cool. It's just it's the tech of Hollywood out there. You know what I mean? Um, so many startups there. They have Salesforce that happen annually, and that brings out, gosh, like they said, like over 25,000 people. So that's just more money for the city of San Francisco. Um, it's a great place to tour, to go sightseeing, right? From hanging out at the pier to the Golden Gate Bridge, to the beaches. As a matter of fact, October 12th, I'll be hosting an event on. We're doing a beach party. Hopefully, it'll be warm. But but yeah, other than that, it's very expensive to live, and unless you're one of those startup tech guys, there, good luck.
So if you weren't living in San Francisco, where would you choose to live? Like, is there another favorite city of yours that you would live in?
You know what? I kind of like small, quiet towns. I don't like big, busy cities. I like small, quiet towns. Um, I would like to live somewhere maybe like in Monterey. I'm sure I don't know if you guys heard of the famous Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Mhm.
And it's all water out there, but it's a small, quiet town. You know what I mean? And and everything's convenient to drive to, right? Whether it's the gas station, grocery store, Target, wherever you need to go, restaurant, everything's right there. I like places like that.
Mm.
I don't like to live in a big city where I got to drive like 20 miles just to go put some gas in my car. You know what I mean? Or drive, 20 miles just to get out of the city. Like, gosh. So, yeah, I would say I'm a little town girl.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we live about an hour and a half west of Philly, about an
Hmm.
hour and a half north of Baltimore, about
Hmm.
2 hours north of DC, and then we're only like 2.5 hours from New York City. So it's kind of nice. We're
Oh
kind of
yeah.
in the mecca of like all kinds of great like culture and
Yeah.
amazing cities.
Well, that's the coolest thing about living on the East Coast is because yeah, you guys could drive to the next state within a couple hours, whereas here in California, it takes what 8 hours to get to Oregon. Um, Takes about damn near 10 hours to get to Nevada. You know what I mean? Like nothing is close by like that. So we're just all Californians.
Yeah. So are you a fan of Vegas or not a fan of Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas is cool. But I don't know. This Vegas reminds me of parties and alcohol, and I'm kind of done with all that. Like, oh my gosh. Um, I have family in Vegas, so anytime I'm out there, I drop by and see them. Um, but yeah, just every time I'm in Vegas, that's what it's about. Drinking Long Island's, adioses, and going to parties and eating at buffets at 2 or 3 in the morning. So yeah, it's cool. You know, the nightlife is cool.
Mm.
Um, and then during the day, I'm not a gambler, so if anything, I'm watching people gamble. I'll do the slot machines or whatever, but I would say yeah, if you're not much of a gambler, Vegas is just kind of meh.
Yeah.
You know,
So
yeah.
you would say you're more of a beach girl than a mountain girl?
Yeah, I love the water. I'm like a fish. I need
Little
water to
Mermaid.
survive. Yeah, Little Mermaid.
You
Yeah.
didn't
That,
mention that one.
right. Little Mermaid. Oh, that was another favorite. But that movie
Yeah.
scared me a little bit. Ursula scared me. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm a beach girl, you know what I mean? Like I just want to like hang out at the beach, listen to the water, swim in the water, uh pet dolphins and stuff like that, even though I haven't done that yet. But you know what I mean? That's something I want to do.
Yeah, we did that in Cabo. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Just feel really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah, no, it looks
do
cool. It looks
do that all
fun.
day.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so talk about this series that you did with Apple TV and then the series that you are shopping around right now, correct? Or is that the same one?
Okay, so there are two different ones. So
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I have a talk show called Diva Talk Tonight, and that's streaming on Tubi.
Okay.
Um, we have 12 episodes on there. It's an entertainment talk show where I'm just interviewing all kinds of guests. And, you know, similar to Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm just talking to different guests in the entertainment industry locally here in the Bay Area. I was airing on Coffee TV and KTSF TV, which are major local stations here. But then, you know, people just start streaming more. So I eventually got it on Tubi. That's amazing. Now, the show called The Hodges, that's a comedy series, and that's focused on comedian Mario Hodge, he's an amazing, funny, hilarious comedian. He's about to blow up. But I'm playing his wife in the show, and we filmed we wrapped up a whole season, so 6 episodes, and right now we're in the midst of shopping that to see where we could see what network we could call home. Um,
And what's the
but
premise of the show then?
the premise of the show is based on him as a comedian uh, trying to make it, and I'm his rich wife. No one knows what I do for a living, but we live in this huge, luxurious house. You know, we have all the finer things in life. But you know, on the other end, my husband is struggling to become a comedian, and he's taking buddy passes to get on the plane, like on Spirit, and and always, you know, always getting the short end of the stick when it comes to everything. You know what I mean? And when he comes home, he's, you know, asking me for money, asking me for things, and I'm the one providing. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's a comedy show, comedy series, and it's to really kind of give you that throwback TV show feeling where we used to watch Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel Air, Martin. You know what I mean? Because everything today is all reality TV. So we're kind of bringing the whole TV show essence back.
The sitcom back.
The sitcom. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I'm all in favor for that. The reality, I can't, I'm just not interested in other people's lives, I guess, as much as other people are. I guess I've never gotten into reality TV. I've never like,
Really?
yeah, what's the one on the island? Survivor. Like, I never got into that. Big Brother, The
Mm-hmm.
Amazing Race, all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the way they engage like people like me or my generation is they put people like us on TV. You know what I mean? And they show us what they're doing as a music artist or as a single mother or as a wealthy, rich mother, wife. Um, I do love watching Housewives. I like watching Potomac Housewives, Atlanta Housewives, New York City Housewives, Love and Hip Hop. And then also too, like on A&E, I love watching A&E. I like watching Court Cam, Neighborhood Wars, Customer Wars, Road Wars, because it's reality. That kind of reality I really do like because that actually teaches you a lesson in life. Um, just things you can learn from not to do.
I
but
would also think they'd be inspirations for some songs too, right?
Oh, of course. Why not? Why not? So reality is cool, just depending on what the content is.
Yeah. Huh. So you're currently in San Francisco then, or where are you located right now?
I'm originally from San Jose,
San Jose.
but
Okay.
yeah, but I tell people San Francisco Bay Area because any other city you probably really wouldn't know, except for Oakland. So yeah, those are the three major cities here: San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose. So I actually live in the East Bay, so maybe about like 15 miles away from UC Berkeley, the most famous university in the Bay Area.
So do you get up to like the Redwoods or like do you get out to like Sonoma or like do you go to Joshua Tree? Like do you do any like,
Yeah,
I would
I go to
imagine being
Napa.
that close, yeah. Or go
Yeah,
to
I go to
Napa
Napa.
too.
I go to Napa wine tasting. As a matter of fact, one of my good friends, she for my birthday, she took me on the wine tasting train, and it was like a 3 hour ride. It went by really fast, but it was really nice. They took us through all the little towns, the Napa, and they would drop you off to go wine tasting, hop back on the train, and then you take a break and you purchase food anywhere. Napa's a really peaceful town. It's really quiet. Uh, every time I go there, I just always think about sleeping in one of the five-star hotels and drinking a glass of wine and binge watching something on Netflix.
True crime.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk more about the podcast because obviously, I host a podcast too. Like, what got you into that and, talk about like that whole concept and like doing it.
Yeah, so aside from Diva Talk, the TV show, I have a podcast. And, I'm on all the same platforms you're on: Spotify, iTunes, all those guys. Um, what inspired me to create that was during the pandemic. And I think that's where a lot of people started podcasting because we couldn't go out. Um, and we just started, it's me and my two co-hosts, B Nicole and Diamond So Sexy. And we just go live on Instagram and we just talk about different topics. Um, and we bring on different people to join the discussion and to give their opinion on this particular topic. For example, when the whole George Floyd thing happened, that was a heavy topic. It was a touchy topic, but it was a heavy topic to discuss. So, we're bringing on different people to give us their opinion and on what's going on, and you know, how we're trying to raise awareness about police brutality. But yeah, with the podcast we were doing that, and then we started branching out, going on location to film, and just enhancing the show as much as possible. Now we're going back to Zoom. We're going to do it that way just so we can interview more people, like people such as yourself who live across the nation or overseas. But yeah, the podcast is really just to whatever you want to talk about, get it off your chest, get it off your mind. If you want to let the world know you like sweets instead of savory food, then let's talk about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
So what has been one topic where the three of you looked at each other and were like, uh-oh, or has that not come up yet?
Let's see. Yeah, there was one and I can't even mention what it is because the platform that we were on removed it because of that topic. And I didn't know that there's certain topics that you couldn't discuss and promote, but I guess because they don't want you to promote false information. So by law, the platform had to pull off that particular episode. So when we started filming again and one of our guests started talking about that, we're like, no, 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 no. We leave that alone.
That's on the red X.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So do you think you could have done the podcast by yourself would you have only done it because you had the co-host with you?
Oh no, I could do anything by myself.
Okay.
Definitely anything. I just like to involve other people because I think it enhances the show. And there's nothing better than having two other voices who have their opinions and that could give good advice or just share their thoughts on a particular topic. And I enjoy doing it with those two girls because they're very vocal about their opinions and they don't hold no barbs. And so that's why I have them on there. Um, and for me, it enhances my way of speaking as well. You know, my vocabulary. It extends my vocabulary talking with them. So yeah.
So let's talk about. I want to get back to being a black woman in this industry and the
Mm-hmm.
struggles that you have faced, the stories that you've heard. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I guess the my question to you is like we talked about Taylor Swift earlier. You know,
Mm-hmm.
do you think in this country, if Taylor Swift was black, she would be as popular as she is?
Sure. We have Beyonce.
Okay, fair enough.
Most yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
okay. So I want to know particularly, like have you personally experienced anything like that in the industry? And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
name names, but just the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You mean like racism or
Yeah, or like where you felt like you didn't get either a part or you didn't get with the
oh
right
yeah.
producer or right, whatever because
Yeah.
of your color. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's so funny. I was working with this one manager lady, and they were looking for a black girl, but they were trying to tell me how black they wanted me to be. And I didn't like that. It's either you want a black girl or you don't. And at the time, I had blonde braids in my hair, but they wanted me to wear a natural. And I said, my hair's in blonde braids right now. I'm not taking it out. I just spent like $800 on that. What are you crazy? And they said, "Oh well, we can't cast you for the role." And I said, "Bye." Um, that was one particular situation. Um, any other like role I go after as an actress, if I'm auditioning for it, it's because it is for a black role. It is for a black girl. Now, in certain scenarios, yeah, in music or whatever, yeah, there's times where, hey, we're looking for something more softer. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? Oh, you want a white girl? Go ahead. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Just say it. But yeah, there's been a couple times where because of the color of my skin, I was not chosen for something, whether it's, performing or whether it's acting. And it's just it sucks, you know what I mean? But it's something that you just have to get used to it and find ways to dance around it and not let it offend you. But again, for the most part, when it comes to acting, if you read the breakdown, you know not to go after that role if they're looking for, Becky with the good hair, you know. But
Becky.
you know what I mean? And I will say yes, in life, definitely have faced those issues being a black person. I remember in high school, it was predominantly white kids at this high school. And I remember the teacher assigned two white girls to mentor me and another white girl. And instantly they gravitated towards her. They were supposed to mentor both of us and show us how to create our classes, our daily schedule with our classes, and what courses to take. And I remember just instantly they just left me alone. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me to even say something that would make me just look dumb, so I just let that go. But yeah, there's been a couple situations where just people are just like, oh well, we're gonna go with her because we think she has more of a appeal to the masses, and um, just the way she portrays herself, and yeah, just those people, those kind of situations, you have to look out for them. And there's a certain way of addressing those situations without, cussing and screaming and, going crazy like you want to. You just kind of have to take a couple deep breaths and walk away with class and with grace.
That's the only way to do it, unfortunately,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Hmm.
so I want to know about your team. Like who is your who are your circle of friends? Like you don't have to name them, but like, what is it a lot? Is it few? Is it like, do you kind of keep that like under wraps? Like how do you treat your friends like that?
Oh man. So first of all, I have a huge network, right? But yeah, only a select few are my actual friends that I could call up, hang out with, tell personal things to, or whatever.
Your
And
ride or
it's
die.
exactly, exactly. And what's funny about me is, again, I've had a couple friends that are not in the industry and they don't have the same lifestyle as me. And so they kind of don't understand how the way my schedule is and what I do. I had this one particular friend, she was really cool, but it was almost like a marriage between her and I because she was just like, you don't ever take the time out to go places with me or just come over and spend time or talk on the phone. And I'm always attending your events and stuff like that, and I say, hey, look, when I invite you somewhere, I'm just extending an offer. You're not obligated to attend any of my events, you know what I mean? And if you do, then you do. But just because you invite me somewhere and I show up a few times but I can't make it to all, it doesn't make us less of friends. You know what I mean? That's not what friendship's about. Friendship is about you and I can go 5 years without talking, and when we see each other again, we jump right back where we left off. There's no hard feelings. There's no whining and crying about where have you been, and you're on Facebook with your other friends or your Tams models or whatever. It's just really hard to be friends with someone else who's not in this industry. So all of my friends, all of my good friends are industry people. And, I hate to, I want to be friends with everyone or anyone who's cool. But those who don't understand what I do don't understand my life. And if you don't understand that, then yeah, you're going to be wondering all day, like, where have you been? What happened? And it's like, hey, I can't be there for you all the time. You know what I mean? I can't do the little things with you, like have coffee and watch a movie. I just don't have time. Don't get me wrong, I like to do that stuff too. But sometimes I can't. And I don't want you mad at me for it. So that was one particular situation, and it kind of, we drifted apart because of that. And it really sucks. She was a good friend, but hey, hey, I have to live my life, my truth, and my dreams. You know what I mean? And some people have to take a back seat to that, unfortunately. But if that's the case, you could ask a lot of celebrities that, they can't be at their children's graduation or prom or even, you know, um, uh, whatever birthday party because hey, I gotta go on tour. I gotta be on set. I gotta get this money. I gotta create more opportunities. You know what I mean? I gotta live. So and then I do have a couple of close friends where yeah, we may not talk for like 15 years. But then when they come back in my life or I come back in their life, it's hey, like it was just like yesterday.
Mhm. That's
So
amazing. Yeah, it really
yeah,
is.
yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I like friends like that. I like people who don't get too clingy. You know what I mean? It's almost like I'm a boyfriend. Sometimes girls get too clinging, and I'm just like, okay, wait, let me take a couple steps back. I don't want you to think that I'm always gonna be around like this because
But
I'm not, and it's not intentional. It's just because of who I am and what I do. So, hey, I think about it. As busy as Beyonce is, Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Ryan Reynolds, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Cruise, all these guys, they're busy. They have a lot going on. And there's a lot of personal stuff they have to miss out on. But it's just the nature of the industry, and it's the industry you chose to get into. So these are some of the things that you got to put to the side that you can't do on a day-to-day basis.
I'm sure they're giving out some keys too.
Yeah, they're giving out keys too. Hey,
So,
right.
so you kind of touched on it. I mean, how difficult is it to have like a relationship, like boyfriend, girlfriend in this industry?
Yeah. If again, if it's someone in the industry, then hey, you guys are both rocking together. If it's somebody who's not, then you're not gonna stay together. I just hate to say it. You're not. Now, if I worked in healthcare and you worked at a tech startup, that's different, right? But if you're a doctor and I don't know, I'm a traveler or I'm a pilot or
Bus driver.
something
Yeah, sure.
where we're always gone,
Yeah.
there's some understanding there
Mhm.
because that person can relate, right? Or if you're a flight attendant, you know what I mean? And you're always on the go, you're always up in the air, and you're a doctor and he's always on call for any situations. There's an understanding. You guys understand what it's like, what life is like. But for someone who's not like that, it's really, really difficult.
So last
Yeah.
thing I want to talk to you about, social media. I
Mhm.
am not a big fan of it. I think it's just lifeless, and I just feel like I always hate myself doing it, but it's also inevitable. We have to do it because we're promoting our brand. Ourself is our brand, right?
Correct.
What's your take on social media and what, how important do you make it in your life?
It's very important to me. I'm always on social media and I love social media actually. I think social media is what you make it. On a personal level, if you're just always on there like it's your open diary, putting all your personal business out there, expect to have negativity come your way. Expect to have unwanted opinions. You know what I mean? If you're putting it out there like, oh, today I quit my job and then I went to go get wasted and did this and that. Yeah, you're gonna have people that are gonna speak on that, right? Or even if you're talking about politics, if you're talking about mental health, you're gonna have people that are not gonna be 100% in agreement with you. So it really is what you make it. But for me, I'm on there strictly as a brand, but I get personal on there sometimes, but I know what I want to share and what I don't want to share.
Yeah.
And really it's all on you. You can't blame others when you're the one who still typed or tweeted that F this president, I'm voting for this president, whatever, whatever. You're gonna get a lot of people contacting you and saying hateful things.
Right.
So, you really have to watch. It was funny. I was hosting this event not too long ago, and they had the DA there, and she made a speech, and she made a great point. She said, for not just younger people, but all you people, remember, whatever you put on the internet is what you put on the internet, even if you
Never
delete it.
goes away.
Exactly. So whatever you put out there, just know your family's going to see, your job's going to see, your peers are going to see. everybody is going to see what you post on the internet. And she just left it at that. And she was just like, be mindful. So, um, and hey, that's all you can say. The rest is up to you.
It's good words to live by, Miss DA.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Well, Keldamuzik, this has been a pleasure. I hope it has been as much fun as it has been for me as it has been for you. Um,
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a great conversation, and you're a great guy, dog.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Check her out at www.keldamuzik.com, right, for all info and anything Keldamuzik, correct?
Yep, anything related, anything like you want to see all my latest projects, follow me on socials, all that stuff, go to keldamuzik.com. And just remember, my name is Keldamuzik, one word, lowercase m, Zik.
I love it. Thank you so much for doing this. Have a wonderful night. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps artists like Keldamuzik. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear RAR. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Dog. You've been great. This is the Music Lab Podcast.